gonna figure we had quite a turnout tonight.
Hunting or trapping is not permitted on lake waters, shoreline, or common. So is it okay from private property? Just curious.
It's residential area, there's no hunting in residential. So where's that out in up there? That's what the whole thing is about.
It's a fish structure.
Hey, one of those 55 gonna be mine.
Christmas tree.
Those tadpoles, those gonna be mine. One of mine's
For the fish community.
laid over.
Where's yours?
I'm in JV3 now, but I was in one where the two of them were like, and then so you drove two more like behind them. So there's like 4 poles like.
I don't think they were like that until you got a hold of them.
I mean,
They went in straight.
It was my first year in there, and I'm like, what kind of hazing is this?
Well,
I finally got down to, because I got out from under that tree when 3 opened up, I was like, Deborah called me. I was like, there's one that was open. I was like, yes, give me that one. I need to get a cover for it.
That just kind of segues into just what I said, you do it for one, you put it
I
on for
know.
Is that what you're thinking about doing, is repiping all of them?
all of them.
Not bad. Are they gonna be sleeved with like the PVC like they were and everything? Yeah.
But 4-inch pipe.
Oh.
I'm using the 4-inch, I recommend the 4-inch pipe like they would set like a dock. And just something that's gonna be there for forever.
It's gonna wreck the boat now.
They'll learn
It's a whole other
apart.
I was
complaint.
gonna say, it is nice sometimes that they do bend a little bit.
Well, I think part of doing it is being a little bit more consistent with the spacing of them. And they're not all consistent, they're not all consistent in height, and they're not all consistent in width. You know, people spend a lot of money on docks out here, and we might as well make our tie-ups look nice as well.
Those ones that Shannon had looked at that you could add core drilled over, have you guys look at any of those? Adding slips down the Lincoln Hills area, or is there nowhere to add them?
That's a whole nother beast. Evan.
Alright, I got 7 o'clock. Get started. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Today is the January 28th HLPOA operations meeting. This is the meeting where we set the agenda for the next board meeting. We have a guest speaker today from Corson Security, Fire and Security. We have been back and forth with him. He's come out a couple times. Luke has come out and given us some information about the products and services they offer with respect to electric car readers and gate security for different areas of our lake. Ken and I met with him before the holidays, and he kind of took inventory of what we got now, what our layout is as far as the clubhouse and any other locations we're interested in maybe having cameras, some information about the card readers, and obviously one of our biggest priorities is going to be the burn pile gate that we talked about since we had the issues last year. So at the last board meeting, I passed out the quote that we received from Luke and asked everybody to bring some questions that they may have so we can talk about what options we may want to pursue, what priority we may want to give certain options that are listed here, and we can open up the discussion. So, I don't know, Luke, if you want to start off with anything first, or?
No, I was just gonna ask if everything made sense to everybody. I try to lay it out pretty simple, so it shows you guys whatever you requested, that's what I proposed. Just like on the clubhouse here, for instance, just the panel that will control both the card access and security system. So it'll be a combined system, all can be ran off one app, off your phone. You guys, I'm assuming, I don't know if everybody on the board will be allowed to have this feature, but you guys will be able to make changes to door schedules, who can come in and come out, You can also do it from a computer as well, so it doesn't have to be done from a phone. We will be replacing some of the hardware on a couple of the doors where you guys want to add card readers. We're gonna put crash bars on there. One will be motorized, because it has to be powered, the other will just be a standard crash bar. I did that to make it so it looked the same, keep it, no eyesores or anything like that. I also did the cell unit to communicate the systems. No phone lines, no nothing will be needed, just a cell unit. I also quoted a couple cameras for the clubhouse, for the back and for the front. I think that's what Ken talked about when we kind of looked at the building, when we did our walkthrough. And that was just on the clubhouse portion of it. Anybody have any questions on that?
One question I have, Luke, is I just want to make sure that I'm clear.
Mhm.
The activity, I've got everybody's highlighted. The activity center, and there's a couple pages of the clubhouse location.
Yep.
Is doing both of those locations what you got proposed here?
Yeah.
Is that the 12,767?
The 12,767 will just be the clubhouse. That'll be cameras, access, and security. Then I broke it out just the activity center. Then I did it just the burn pile. So there should be a separate price for each location.
1,635
Yeah.
for the activity center.
Correct.
So then that answers my second question. The burn area, just the burn area alone is 18,600.
Correct, yeah, to do the gate and the access on that.
Okay.
So it's like 34, 36,000, something like that.
Correct.
Okay.
The activity center, we couldn't do anything with that Stanley door out front. You guys will have to, I hate to say it, but maybe call them or another company that'll come out and work on it. We don't get into that far into those types of doors, but we'll work on other door locking hardware and stuff like that, so. So I didn't know if you guys want me to re-look at that, to maybe put a reader on another door, maybe get that one worked on and then work on that later. Because basically all we'll have to add to that is just a card reader and some door locking hardware, and that'll, because I already put the panel in there for be able to access, to be able to be used, so it's ready for it.
Any
So-
thought, excuse me?
No, you're all right.
Any thought regarding the pool?
Just
We-
have readers there for in and out.
Is the system
That's not a bad
expandable?
idea.
Oh, yeah. And we talked about that, but they stated that there was always an individual there letting people in and out, so there really wasn't a need for a card reader there. I can understand if nobody was there, but if you guys have someone there, but that's again, if that's up to them too, checking to see if they're really allowed to be in there or not. So that's relying on human.
And the purpose of the clubhouse is for after hours primarily? Or would it be locked
No, it'd be after hours.
only for after hours?
Yeah.
You guys can set it to where it's unlocked during normal business hours, and then during non-business hours, you guys can set it up how you want, like if you rent out the clubhouse to someone or vice versa. If you guys are having a meeting, you can unlock it for certain different times. You guys can set that up. You can set that ahead of time, or if you're in a hurry and you got something that just popped up, you can do that real quick from the phone, from the smartphone.
So 4403 of that is just adding 6 IP cameras in there, and a switch and some wire. Looks like.
Yes.
Okay. And there was no monitoring, or there was no, can those cell modems support camera feeds? Like if we wanted to put one out the burn pile, they could monitor the gate?
Yes, it'd have to be a different kind, but we could do one like that. And our company monitored it. It's pricey, but we could do it.
Yeah. I mean,
Define pricing.
A little bit over 100 a month, I would say. And that,
Ken can afford it.
I don't know how people react to it, but
But if we're already paying the 30 a month.
yeah.
It'd be 70 more a month roughly, or it'd be another?
No, it'd be another 100. That'd be separate. We'd have to do something separate on that portion of it.
But that's because you guys are monitoring it?
Correct, yeah. And this is a video feed. That wouldn't be just monitoring like door contacts going off or anything like that on the security side of it.
I got you.
It'd be a bit more involved.
Okay. I wasn't sure, because a lot of times if you get like a server set up, you can do I do a little bit of access work. not a
Oh, do
lot,
you?
but Not to the level you guys do it.
I got you.
I do park garages,
Okay.
but, a lot of times we don't provide any monitoring services. We just say,
You so-and-so,
here's the server,
I got you.
you record it yourself, and then
Mhm.
it just records over itself. We use like
Mhm.
GeoVision and a
Mhm.
handful of those. I just didn't know if something like that could be streamed to a server from the cell.
I don't know if
Like,
it
they
can
had a
stream
server
to a,
set up.
it most likely can, I have to ask a little higher up on that, but I know it can, we can monitor it, we can stream it, I don't know if like to a server, but to where it can be monitored from a cell unit, we can do that.
I was just thinking if it was running on like motion only and
Mhm.
we had it recording somewhere, if we had an issue, we could go back to it versus your guys is kind of watching it all the time, because I don't think the burn pile is very exciting.
No, oh, no, we
media.
could, no, we could just put a big enough box out there, I do that at lots of places, just put a big enough box with the card access and all that, it'd be 2 systems, but then put a camera with a recorder out there and it would record all the time. If you guys have logging into it remotely, I'm
just
sure we
trying to-
could do it.
I'm just trying to think of
No,
any way that we can tweak the money to make it worthwhile, because out there, the card reader is great, but if Susie gives her card to Chris,
Yeah,
we don't really know that it wasn't Susie out there.
we
know
talked
it's,
about that.
You know, and contractors borrow people's badges and.
Well, at the end of the day, if that kind of situation comes up, the homeowner or the lot owner is the one still responsible for
For
whatever
what happened.
happens during the
Sure.
use of that card. So,
It-
obviously, that's breaking the rules anyway, and, I mean, that's a whole separate.
And that's coming where these 2 systems are gonna be tied in together, the DMP system I propose access and then the height vision cameras. They will eventually here be tied in, they haven't done it yet, so it's coming down the road. So eventually it'll be able to host the recorder as well on that app and look at all of it from one app. Right now, it just would be cameras and app and then access app, so. But it's coming.
So what is the total monthly service fee?
Right out here, let me look, was 55 a month for this building, 45 for activity center, and 30 a month for out at the,
No maintenance.
oh, maintenance, there is no, I did not do a maintenance. We don't do a monthly,
So in other words, to support the system, how much does it cost to support the system? You know, let's say, you're saying that each location has an individual monthly fee for service?
No, just for monitoring, that's all. No service, there's no service included in that, it's just, we monitor it and that's it. You guys pay the upfront install fee, and then there's a monitoring, monthly monitoring fee.
And the monthly monitoring fee means that by monitoring, you're saying if we need you to come out to fix the gate, that's included, or is that a separate?
No,
charge?
that'll be a separate fee. Monitoring, just we're providing a hosted background for you guys to get on and make changes to your access platform, and then also we're monitoring your security.
Are you cloud-based?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no physical boxes, or server boxes that would be here, you host everything?
Just the panel, yeah, and the internet connection. Yep.
So service fee to come out if something happens to the gate and we need it.
Yeah, that'll be a separate fee.
We don't
Right,
even
what is
publish
that fee, is that?
I think it's it's based on how long we come out here. It's normally 125 an hour, but we break it down into increments. I think it's 15-minute increments, so, or quarter, however you break it down. So we won't charge you the full. If we're only here 15 minutes, we'll only charge you that little portion.
And what's your turnaround time?
Day, depends what your emergency is. If it's, you need us out here that day, we'll get out here that day. If we have to make it in after hours, we'll come out here and get it taken care of, but we're about a day and a half, I think.
After hours is an additional charge, I assume?
Yeah.
So let me just understand, these numbers, these monitoring, basically all that means is your computer is hosting the software.
Basically, yes. And we're providing you the background to be able to get on and make the changes and all that good stuff, like adding, taking away people, adding more cards, so they can be able to be used in the different facilities.
You know, the ability to get on and add cards and remove cards, that's nothing more, I would have thought that would have been there. You're saying.
It is there.
If the software, okay, let's say how frequently do you have a software upgrade?
Every so often, and that's something provided in this monthly fee.
Can we do it without it? Do we have to have monitoring?
No, but then no. But you won't be able to have to be able to get on from your phones and be able to disarm stuff, remove people, add people. You'll still be able to do it from a computer, but you won't get updates and stuff like that.
What do you mean? I'm confused now. What if basically all we want is for our computer, from our desktop, laptop computer,
Mhm.
not a cell phone,
Mm-hmm,
to be able to connect to your server
mm-hmm.
and add clients, remove clients, view the records of activity?
Mm-hmm.
What is that an additional charge?
No, that's all included in that, right? Everything that I
But
provided.
it is part of the $55.
Yes, but no service or anything like that is.
What service?
Like we come out and work on something breaks or
But
anything
you already
like that.
told us that service is an extra fee.
Yeah.
It's
and then-
not included with
Yeah,
this
you
monthly.
were leading towards maintenance before, so that's,
It's not included with this
No.
monthly fee.
no.
And in terms of instruction, how many hours are included in this $18,000, $16,000 plus?
When we install it, we'll come out and we'll train the board if we have to on a night when you guys are all here. I've
So how many?
8 hours of training.
8 hours of
Mhm.
training.
Yeah.
And any telephone support, or is that part of the monthly fee?
Well, yeah, if you guys have questions and problems, you guys can call us. Call me, call my operations guys. We will assist you. It's nothing, we won't say, no, we can't help you. Yeah, we'll assist you over the phone. We've got a tech on call 24/7. It rotates through all my guys. The 10 guys I have in my department, just security alone at Corson and Indy.
Does this roll out to like burglary, like is that part of the intrusion?
Mm-hmm.
So it would
That's-
roll out to police if need be?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that would be with that monitoring, the intrusion monitoring also?
Correct. Just on this, in the activity center, the clubhouse and activity center, it's just an access system at the burn pile.
Right.
There's no burglar, nothing on that.
So then if we add these up, to me, it looks like $45 for the activity center, $55 for the clubhouse. So right there, we're up to $100, correct?
Correct.
And then the burn pile is another $30, so it's $130 a month,
Correct.
in effect, for you to just host the software.
Mm-hmm.
And you perform all firmware upgrades, updates, all that
Mhm.
stuff is included in this?
Yep.
There wouldn't be additional hours?
Nope.
For ever and ever?
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
Until they increase it.
You can drop 5.
And we won't increase it on you guys unless you guys change something out. Well, that's how I've done it with all my customers the past 4 years I've been doing it.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
like,
I mean, I know a good server can cost you $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
oh
so
yeah.
We buy them when we do our jobs.
Is there any limitation as to the number of cards that can be?
10,000, I believe, is what the count is. I think you guys were at 3. It's like 3,500, something like that.
Current.
What'd you say?
Yeah. There's room for some growth.
How far recording wise can we have?
I think this one was 3 weeks to a month.
So about
I
30
did 2
days.
terabytes, yeah, almost 30 days.
2 terabytes?
Mm-hmm.
You talking about retention?
Well, I'm just thinking like, if something happens at the burn pile and we were to have a camera out there,
And I can
we may not
increase
be aware
that.
of it the week it happens.
Oh, yeah, I would do something bigger with more hard drive if you guys did something out
I'm just
there.
thinking 6 cameras, if you're monitoring only on motion, I guess you probably wouldn't need a ton of data, but.
You'd be surprised how much motion you eat up.
There's 6
Forums of
cameras.
beer, Just brush blowing around.
Well, yeah.
There's 6 cameras for the clubhouse and the activity center, the total is 6? or-
6 is all in here.
Yeah,
Six
all
is
in here,
all
everything.
in
I didn't do
here.
anything at the burn pile camera
So you're
wise.
saying 4 inside and 2 outside? Is
Yes.
Is that sort of the breakdown?
Yes.
Is that just replacing what we had in here now, Ken, like these ones? The cameras you're putting in here will be just replacing these and tying them in?
Yeah. I think
Adding an
that-
extra one or two
Yeah, I think there was
upstairs.
an added one in downstairs, we have nothing outside right now.
Is there anything to warrant putting one in the activity center for the same reason, just so we have some sort of eyes in there? If we're gonna spend all this,
Well, we did have cameras put for the activity center.
I didn't put any, we didn't do any cameras on that, you guys didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
We did one, the one out front, I think, was shining in that direction of the activity center.
there's none on the activity center, that's why.
Oh, for the activity center?
Yeah, you guys didn't wanna do cameras there.
We just did motion detectors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just thinking from the eyes and ears perspective of covering all the bases. If we're gonna spend the money and monitor it at $45 a month.
Yeah, it's only valuable when it's valuable.
I'm just saying, you put a couple
I got
cameras
you.
over there, it only makes sense to cover the two most, highest used buildings.
But their use of the use of the word monitoring, unless nobody from your organization is sitting there watching these, right?
Cameras?
Correct.
No.
So basically.
It'll just be recording.
Monitoring is sort of a funny word.
I'm saying
a trick
recording.
word.
They're recording.
No, it's monitoring your security systems, what it's doing, then it's also hosting the access system.
You're right, Tom, it's available to be monitored. So if we saw something
Yeah.
that happened, we
Go
can go
back and
back
look
and
at
look at
it.
the record
Correct.
through the window, retro month.
It's recording,
Mhm.
monitoring versus recording.
And then it's in a loop, right?
Yeah,
And-
correct.
okay. Yeah, that's not a lot, I got what you're saying.
And how long will that loop last?
Depends what you guys want. Like I was telling him, I did 3 weeks to a month, or 30 days almost, essentially here at this building.
You discover a break-in or something, and after the fact, you look for license numbers or whatever.
Your,
Yeah.
your service charge was how much?
125 an hour.
That, that seems fair. Is there any trip charge with that?
Yes, I think it's $35.
Do you have techs out here?
Yes. We've got techs on each side of town. We kind of lucked out in our department.
That live here,
Just a-
Billy?
Not here, but they live out. I've got some Avon and Plainfield guys.
Okay.
Sort of, like time-wise, how long do you think, basically, it seems like we would be doing all the data entry, is that correct?
We would assist you on what to do, but then it would essentially be you guys, yes.
But you could do an import, if we had an import
Mhm.
of all the
Yep.
names.
We've talked about that. Because I think you guys had it on Excel or you couldn't remember. I can't
We
remember.
got a couple different
Okay.
numbers.
Yeah, there's several different ways they can import. I've looked it up and I can't remember what all the different ones were, but there were
Was that
several.
an added charge?
Nope, that's included in that.
Seems fair. But if we didn't care so much about the phone monitoring, like, I don't particularly care about watching what's happening at the clubhouse on my cell phone, but I don't know if that's valuable or not.
I think that's something we could always expand. I mean, whatever system we start with, we could probably.
That's what I'm thinking,
add
if we did
features
with
as we go.
that,
So I think what we're
Or is
gonna
that
do,
the base?
what we're gonna wanna do probably is come up with a priority list of the areas that we think are the most important.
And it can be done in sections. We don't have to do everything all at once. We can do it in phases.
Okay, so we could do all
Oh,
cameras
yeah.
in one shot, and then we could do all
Yep.
this building,
Mhm.
or, okay.
Exactly.
Not very hard to upgrade from one to the other.
Not at all. Nope, it builds on top of itself. So once you put that one panel in, you just add to it.
Modular, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, we're talking about redoing the marina later this year, and
Mhm.
that's something I'm sure at some point, I mean, think about if we could just install a gate at the marina, that way only people with cards can get in and out of there. Worry about people getting on the lake that don't belong here or whatever.
And does everybody have to pay homeowners dues and stuff? The people that don't pay their dues, you
You
can
could turn their card.
turn their
off.
cards off and they can't use the features that they'd like to use out here.
You be the king.
Look at Deborah smiling.
Deborah would be getting treats at her desk. Oh, there you go.
But the point is, I
Also
mean,
get
it
phone
could,
calls, people ditch you when it doesn't work.
yeah.
Yeah.
The point is, I mean, it's something that we could expand the use of.
That's what they come.
Well, it's
gradually.
buildable,
It's
that's
not-
why I was curious. If
Exactly,
it
it's not
was,
all at once.
I was curious how entry level it was as far as like, if you could only support 25 doors, and then we had to pay for a whole another system to go to the next level. I mean, obviously, we don't have 25 doors. but just-
Well, your setup's kind of different anyways. It'll kind of be different systems all, that you can all look off
Different
of,
zones.
control it all, yeah. So it's kind of a different feature. It's your situation is unique here, so.
Yeah, I guess before we ask the question, if Ken believed that that it's worth $18,000-$19,000 to put this in the burn area. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. You know, you have to decide, you know, is it worth that amount? Because I guess, you know, you could always say, some of these other, you know, like this building and the other building, you know, do we really have a need for card access that members hold? I mean, it seems like the keys have been working now. I don't know. You know, I'm looking, you know, I'm looking to the office to identify, is there a need for card access by members? I mean,
Well, I feel like
That
that's
would be
the,
fantastic.
I feel like that's the hardest area to,
is there, you know, is there such a thing as a cost benefit? You know, this is a pretty big chunk of money, I think.
Well, also with you guys renting it out, it'll control who rents it out, control what they do.
My assumption is, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we're renting this out for weddings or something, do we not monitor it? Or do we just leave the door open and assume that people come in and go out
Well,
responsibly?
We have an attendant that,
An individual?
that is responsible for unlocking it, and they make contact with them, or they come back at the end time and they lock it back up. You know, they're supposed to do a walkthrough. So, you know, it would probably eliminate that.
The attendant?
the person could come pick up an access card for the event, before the event, and they could use that access card, and then they'd have to turn it back in when it's over.
You know, I just think there is some value to that attendant. I really think that, you know, the personal body,
Having your
Presence.
eyes on it.
you know, that's my opinion. I just don't see, I'm missing something, because except for the burn pile, the situation at the burn pile, you know, I just don't see the cost benefit in it from card readers on doors. I don't see the benefit of that. Could somebody help me out?
I mean, I can definitely see the monitoring the video monitoring portion, like that's.
Just pure security.
I mean, from nowadays, anybody sees a camera, they just straighten up a little bit. I mean, you put a parking, I mean, I work in dirty, dark parking garages. You put up a camera anywhere, people pay attention. They don't do stupid stuff. They don't run through gates nearly as often as if they're just running through. I mean, it's what I do every day, but.
Well, right now, we do have cameras in at least this building, correct?
We have some, we don't have any exterior cameras, there's nothing in the activity center at all. Like I said, my personal focus, I'm with you that card access at these two buildings, not nearly as important as video monitoring. I would much rather spend more money on video monitoring from the perspective of safety and security. If somebody falls and were to hurt themselves, it would be on camera, slips on the ice, what might, you know, turn into a lawsuit.
Consider that we have to have cards anyway, though. We have to have membership cards, right?
But the
Right.
the membership cards you have now are, what, 25 cents a
laminated.
piece,
Oh, yeah.
nickel a piece?
Probably not that
Penny a piece.
expensive. I think some of this is like looking way out in the future.
Big
Like if
picture.
Lois gets a card and they know that the person's paid their dues or such and such because we've enabled it in the office, or Lois can on site, I'm using Lois, could you? Or they could, on the laptop right there, enter the person in as they pay their dues at the marina. Or, I'm seeing this as kind of a, really it's the first step in identity of everybody that's on the property.
And raising that level of technology up to more tracking, more without having people that are upset on a Saturday because they can't put their boat in because they couldn't pay their dues because they forgot to come to the office. They could pay it at the marina and they could track it in a different way. I don't know, can they pay it now at the marina? if you
We
want
don't
to.
encourage it, no.
No.
Right.
I mean, there's been a couple times that I've been there and I know the people, but it's been just a couple times.
But if we had a card, if we had a way of tracking, we could build that into the marina as
Yeah, you
well.
link that card to their POA account, right?
Right.
So you see if their dues have
Right.
been paid. I mean, you can shut their card off if their dues haven't been paid and they're trying to access
But how many, like,
whatever.
situations can someone get into somewhere that, say, like, they didn't have the card? Nobody had a card, we didn't worry about that. Right now, how many times can someone just walk in here when there's nobody else here? How many times can someone just walk into any of the other buildings when there's no one else here? I mean, I think it's more, if someone can get in here without someone else being here, you should have a camera to see it rather than a key card. I mean, I do see maybe in the future, but right now, I think the cameras would be more important.
I mean, we're talking about cameras, I would think that, you know, unless the current system you have is not expandable, I think it could be expanded for much less money than what we're looking at. I mean, so if all of a sudden cameras are a big concern, in terms of people getting in here when nobody's not here, that doesn't happen, because the doors are locked.
Yeah.
Sure, when the doors are unlocked, can people get in here and potentially cause mischief that the office might not notice? Certainly. But again, if you're looking to add a camera, you know, I don't know, would you have any idea, is your current system expandable?
I don't believe it is.
Because we got cameras at the marina already. I don't know if anybody really looks at them or monitors what we're taking. I'm sure you do here, monitor what's being recorded on the camera. I just think,
That's a lot of dough.
yeah, I'm trying to look at the cost benefit of this versus some other kinds of things that we've been thinking about doing, you know.
I know the card system is kind of out into the future, you know, to help benefit. If I could wave a magic wand and have a wish list, probably mine would be, whether it's this system or some other means to control the burn pot. And then the other would be to, when something happens, whether it's a break-in or here, or the activity center, or to be able to identify either a vehicle that has come in the parking lot, or a face, whether it's here or whether it's at the activity center, or somebody was breaking one of those doors to steal the TV off the wall. It'd sure be nice to be able to have that face. It'd be nice to be able to see a vehicle that has driven in the parking lot. One of the cameras we was gonna position was downstairs. It would have been nice to be able to see who backed up over here and took that probably over $700 picnic table. So that's probably would be my wish list. The cards, you know, that's something to bring us, you know, up to standard in the future. And maybe we look at that in the second wave, but I think our immediate attention would be for some kind of a security.
Luke, do you have a per camera price roughly? Like, so say we decided we wanted to put some more in the activity center and move some from here, or add some more, or do something. Is there like a rough number you kind of think per camera?
Well, with that, I'd probably have to do a recorder over there too, unless we shot some type of ubiquity to get a wireless signal from here to over
But
there.
at that point, you basically probably pay for a recorder, right? If you use a ubiquity between the two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, basically, yes.
These cameras are hardwired?
What's that?
These cameras are hardwired?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Yeah. They run on POE, power over Ethernet.
IP, Cat 5 cable, Cat 6.
Are these PTZs or are they just?
No, just fixed,
Okay.
fixed lens.
I guess normally what quality of image comes out of
I
it?
just-
Like, are you looking at?
I did 4 megapixel on these, so it's almost what you see with your eye.
Okay.
You get a great picture. I mean, and you'll see, so far, you'll see vehicles pull in, you're not gonna catch license plates.
Right.
The closer people get, you'll be able to make out faces, but,
So you're not gonna catch license plates?
oh no. You'll be able to, if they, depending on how close they get.
I mean, a license plate level camera is gonna have to be.
Oh, the lens on that's gonna be, yeah.
You're gonna, the dollar figures are gonna scream.
The only reason I said that is because Ken indicated one benefit would be,
Well, maybe
get the license plate.
well, the exterior cameras could be probably, you know, bump those up to 6s or 8s and get some high resolution.
I could.
We're just trying to,
This is basically is just general views is what I was going for. Cause with this, the cameras I propose, it's gonna catch the activity center, pool, parking lot, so you'll be able to see all of it.
Right.
right. Well, like I said, if we went the,
And we could always relook at that,
If it's-
revisit it.
if the major wish list is to be able to see more things if something were to go wrong, card access would be much lower
Mhm.
priority list versus spending more money on more imaging. Whether or not it's going with a higher dollar camera, that maybe the ones that view the parking lot, put a couple extra out there and bump up the resolution so you can get a license plate. Cause like you're right, a 4 megapixel camera has a car rolls through that parking lot, you're not gonna get a plate.
You'll be able to tell what the car is, make and model, but that's about it.
It's not gonna get you plates. But like we've said, you go to a fancier camera, you go to a fancier dollar figure.
And even just going to the system would be kind of future proofing because, I mean, in the future, if we needed to add other things, it's better than, no offense to Menards.
I can't remember,
cameras that
but
are up there.
I'm thinking those are analog cameras you guys currently have, I think. Runs off coax and,
Probably.
yeah, coax and power, so.
I just, I'm sure you're very competitive. I had no idea what to expect.
Mhm.
I'll be honest, I about swallowed my Adam's apple when I seen these.
No, I understand.
And I look, the one that I really have a hard time swallowing is the almost $19,000 at the burn pile. I'm not sure what the answer is. We just gate it, we open it, we still probably have the same problems. I don't know if you have any alternative suggestions.
I can verify with the type of gate that my gate guy proposed, and maybe we could do something a little different on that with the motor and stuff, so. Cause that's mainly all of his cost in there. Mine was very minimal compared to what the gate is on that, so.
And that may be something, Ken, you guys build all kinds of stuff around here. Sink a couple of posts and you can do a roller gate.
Is roll gates what
Yeah,
you're proposing?
Yeah, do a roll gate, and then it's just a matter of adding a drive system to it.
But the drive system's where all the money's at, the operator.
For the most part,
Who do you guys use?
North End Defense.
Okay. I mean, sorry, what kind of operator?
Oh, Lift Master. I believe that one was on this one.
It just said game operator.
Yeah, sorry,
I
I
didn't
didn't-
look too close to see if it was.
I think I forgot to put that on there, but it should have been the Lift Master.
Yeah. We do slide gates, but the other, you can put $5,000 like that on an operator, so they're pricey. Cause you only buy one of them.
Exactly.
They gotta make all their money on one of them, cause it's not like you're gonna be buying one every 6 months, you're gonna buy one and run it for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they gotta make all the money up front.
just as a comment, I think it was in one of the documents, showing a picture of the camera from the firehouse. And you suggested that there might be something also pointed at the burn pile. Have you looked at the resolution of that?
I haven't. It's funny you asked that question, because I just had that conversation with Brian Irvin today. We're getting ready to put in a new system down there at the firehouse, which is gonna allow it to hook up to that one. Not to belabor a long story, but when he was installing that camera, I believe he slipped and fell and tore up something that's gotta be replaced, and so it is, right now it is not activated, but it's soon to be when his approval for that new system gets approved, so. but to be able to actually view that, I have not seen it yet. It's actually on, and it just basically points down, but whatever it is, it's got to control it to be able to move it, that kind of thing, so. But we just had that conversation today, so we're kind of a sniff away from seeing what that's gonna look like.
Do you know what the megapixel of that camera is?
I do not, I just know it's large, it's about this big.
Yeah.
It's a big camera,
Is it a PTZ, so it's gonna be doing this the whole
Yeah.
time? Okay.
and it's gonna be pointed back here at the, it's on their,
A pole?
tower.
Okay.
It's way up.
The only things, those are good, but the only thing is they're always gonna be doing this. It's never gonna be stopped, so if something ever happens, you guys hope that it needs to be caught in that time frame that it's rotating, because they call it tours for PTZs.
Well, you're suggesting that you can't then view it a frame at a time? That's impossible.
Well, I mean, you can, but it's gotta be in that little second that
No,
it's
he's saying if you're looking
rotating.
this way, Tom, if it's looking towards you and then it's rolling over here towards Ken, it loses the view of you.
Correct.
At that moment. and
Well, I
Then it'll come back to
I think
it.
it's gonna be focused more at a stationary position out towards the burn pile, so it really wouldn't have any reason to move clear over here by the road. It'll probably pick up movement over here and follow it to a certain degree.
Well, if it's that type of camera. It most likely will just be a camera that's rotating like this at all times, unless they have it physically set to look at the burn pile area. Other than that, it'll be on what's called a tour, and it'll always be doing
That's
this.
how I understand it, it's gonna be.
Oh, okay.
physically
Well,
set.
nice.
Yeah. I guess that's, maybe that's something we need to
Yeah, I would
wait to
verify.
see, because that might be your whole solution. If the burn pile is being video recorded, I guess the question is, how long is it being recorded? And how do you, what accuracy do you have of looking at vehicles as they're pulling in and pulling out? That could be the whole solution, without a gate. Because basically what you want to do is to be able to identify an offender and then take action.
Anybody have any other questions for Luke? Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Appreciate your time, Luke.
You're welcome.
Good talk.
Thanks.
See, let me know if you guys have any other questions. Thank you.
So we probably want to have a discussion on this at the next board meeting, decide which way we want to go forward. It's a lot to digest. I know, like Ken, saw the numbers and I was like, wow.
So we also need some more information about the
From the
firehouse.
others, yeah, see what kind of,
How much the more expensive cameras cost?
Let me ask my guys at work if they can at least give me some numbers on cameras to make sure we're on point here.
for sure.
Like I said, GeoVision is a company that we use, and all the software is free. But you pay out front for the camera, but it's expandable to basically whatever you want. So you pay more upfront, but you have zero monitoring fee because you have the physical server that you would buy once, and you'd have a server here. And as long as you have internet, you could link them between the buildings, and it can be done, like I said. I don't see the value in the $130 a month monitoring if they're not really monitoring. I understand the burglary
They're
portion.
keeping their server on, is basically.
And they're making sure that if something happens, if fire or burglary were to come, and then they would trigger an alarm instead of somebody seeing it. I can see value in that, but to your point of the actual video monitoring, there's no one sitting there like at a guard desk watching Heritage Lake, making sure we don't go to the burn pile.
Not for $130 a month.
Yeah.
And I really don't think, I don't think anybody is, for fire, it's not tied into our smoke alarms, so I don't think anybody's monitoring for fire. For intrusion, I don't think anybody's they're not putting door contacts or window
They're
They're
putting
putting door
contact.
contacts,
It said-
electrical door contacts.
That's what it said.
Well, that's the point. In order to do that, you're putting card readers on. Why else would you put the?
Right, wireless door contacts, wireless motion detectors.
Yeah, but back to the point, not going with the card readers up front.
Oh, you mean tonight,
Just
we
go
didn't do
with,
card access?
yes, go with more video access.
Yes, I agree that video is much better, is a bigger priority. Like I said, I think that $1,500 that we would spend putting monitoring over there, we could spend $1,500 and put 2 cameras over there, or 3 cameras over there. I mean, heck, 6 cameras is like $4,500. So if we went hog wild and spent like $7,000, we could probably outfit this place with 10 or 12 cameras and be able to see every inch of both buildings and the parking lot. Just, you know, but I'll ask some more questions at work tomorrow.
So is this something that should be on the board agenda, or do we table it until next ops meeting and come back with some of those answers?
I think we should talk
Yeah,
about it.
let's do it at the next ops meeting.
That
Because
next
I
ops
don't,
meeting?
I don't think we're gonna be in a position we're gonna vote on anything at the board meeting. I think we still want more information.
Still discussing.
That's what I would think.
Okay. Yeah, come talk to your guys, see what kind of
Just to
options
see we
you
have
guys
numbers.
offer. Yeah, just so we sanity check, make sure what we're looking at is not just ridiculous.
I just
I
thought,
know,
I was
it's
figuring
not.
it's like almost $33,100 for just his proposal, then it's $1,560 a year for.
Well, we're talking about card readers too. I mean, my vision at the time when we were talking about card readers was better being able to manage the membership accounts, right? And an electronic means that they have to get a card anyway. You don't have to have a new card every year. You just turn them off and on whenever they're paid up or not paid up. But there's a lot of work that would go into that as far as getting our membership list correct, in a way that we know exactly what we want to monitor on those
Yeah, I'm
cards and what
thinking
it's
about
gonna link
security
to.
of having a remote reader, and what are you
Yeah.
doing out here, you know?
Yeah,
I mean, it's unlimited, the opportunities are.
it's very expandable. It's something that we could
Yeah.
completely build on, but you saw the cost on that too. I mean,
Yeah.
$25 for, I don't know, what was the cost for each card?
Cards are
It was like
ridiculous.
$25 for a pack of,
25.
$100 for a pack of 25. I mean,
Wow.
it's a lot. So-
Yeah, most tags are usually like $7 to $10 a piece.
Well, we could charge for cards too. I mean,
Yeah, if you
there's
get,
some
you
of
get the
that
first one
back
for
up
free, and then if
front.
you lose it, they
Well,
charge.
no, you're not gonna get anything for free, because you gotta at least be able to cover the cost of the card.
Well, then
up
people
front.
say
So
they don't want the card.
That's something, well, they wouldn't have a choice, really. I think when they pay their annual dues, you get a card, and there's your membership. Anyway, I mean, I think it warrants further discussion going forward, and if it's not something that we're prepared to do right now, maybe that's okay, but I think we at least have to understand what we're prepared to do, if anything.
Sure.
So, sound good?
All right.
All right, so
So
next
table.
ops meeting, please. All right, second item on the agenda, replacement boat tie-up poles. Ken?
I added some pictures of all 3 locations of, if you remember, we've had some concerns of some of our poles being bent and some of them too tight and pinching fingers and that kind of thing. So what I did was I put together some, I just got with Shannon. This is kind of a high-end estimate just over the phone. To set, we went around and located all the tie-up poles, basically parking spots, if you will. There's 55 set out through the 52 spots out there for tie-ups. Now these spots, they generate about $16,900 per year for every one of them. I went ahead and got some pricing for have them all replaced. They're currently set. They're about 1.5 inch galvanized pipe. I'm sure several years ago, when they decided to set these, they thought that was probably the best way of going, but they just get bent, and from being bumped and they tie their boats off with them. Rough water gets to bending them. One gentleman last year had a hard time even utilizing his at all last year because his neighbor hit it and bends it completely over, and so it just goes on and on. But Shannon said with including the pipe, this 4-inch steel pipe, setting them at about $300 per pipe, that's $16,500. He said that if he could reach them from the shoreline, especially while the ground is froze, and not tear up the soil, then it would be about $225 per pipe at $12,375. I kind of explained the reason why. It's, the pipes that are in the ground just not strong enough. And I also added here for appearance purposes. I know that a lot of people spend a lot of money for their own docks, etc. And I just think from an appearance standpoint, our tie-ups kind of look pretty shoddy with these bent up poles.
Yeah, let me interrupt you.
Sure.
Is only Lincoln Park the only place where we got hard pan?
Lincoln Park, yes.
Everything else we can drive for sure.
Yes, and that, for sure. Shannon said he would sink them about 5 feet in the ground. But Lincoln Park, I was just telling Chris before the meeting started, was that Shannon wasn't sure if there was shell bottom through there. But Charlie had told me at one time that he did not think there was shell bottom through there. It was just over, as you can see that cove on the other side.
Yeah.
He thought the shell bottom ended over in there. So I was telling Chris that before I would purchase 18 4-inch pipe, we would take, for Lincoln Park, we would take one of those pipe and maybe from the other location and go over there and see if we could set it.
Is that Lincoln Park both sides of the beach, or are you just talking about?
Just
the
this side of the
side
beach, yeah. That is
The other
shell
ones are
bottom.
okay?
They don't have anything on it because they're
Oh,
shell
that's
bottom.
right, that's right.
That is
Yep.
shell, and they
Yep.
basically just beach it, if you will,
Yeah,
and tie it
yeah.
off, so.
They do look ratty.
Yeah, they do, and, like I said, we've replaced all the docks. All the docks look very nice. I'm really pleased with how the Jefferson Valley has turned out, because we got some really nice bumpers to protect for the tunes to go in, and to protect the wood. We've built a nice little picnic deck out there that's gonna hold 2 picnic tables. But that's probably one on the corner is yours. Is that
Number one was the one that I came out of, yeah.
I think AJ can attest to how, what they look like. They just 1.5-inch galvanized pipe is just not sturdy enough to be,
They flop all over the place.
yeah.
Especially when it's real stormy, because I've gone over there to check on the pontoon, and you can see that, like, as all the boats move, all the pipe kind of weeble wobbles back and forth. That's a technical term.
And if
How long
you,
have these pipes been in? Have they ever been replaced? Or-
not since I've been here. We've pulled some and straightened them, but that's about it. I don't know how long they've been there.
Now, is the pipe going in there gonna be covered in something, or are they just gonna be the steel pipe just out there?
I would probably put the galvanized, put the,
PVC around it?
PVC over it, okay.
which,
Is that an additional to this?
I'm sure it would be.
yeah, I'm sure it would be, but I don't think it'll, not.
And is he gonna mix and match, like if he can do some from shore and some from the barge, or if he
Well,
does them?
he wanted me to measure from the rock's edge or the deck edge, because he's got an extended arm on it.
Yeah,
on-
new one.
Yeah, and it reaches way out there, so, he wants me to get that measurement so he can determine whether he can get it from there or not.
Gotcha.
And another thing I failed to bring up was that a lot of the a lot of the parking spots are, well, the pipe are all, I'm kind of anal about things like that, you know, you got a pipe 7 feet in the air, the next one's, 5 feet in the air. So, I mean, I would like them all strung out to where they're level and equally spaced apart. Some of them may be 10 feet, some of them may be 12 feet, some of them may be 7 feet. It's just, they're not consistently, so, if we got them set, I just wanna make sure that they're adequately spaced equally, all the way down and that they are level.
Are these the same pipes that he drives for like boat lifts and things like that, or?
What I'm anticipating putting in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
okay.
Anything gonna move,
Yeah.
No, they'll be there forever.
not in five,
Yeah.
5 feet deep and 4 inches around.
They'll,
Yeah, they ain't going nowhere.
they'll be there forever, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say they'll bust your boat up before they move, which is probably good,
Probably make people run out of park.
especially my area.
So it's just something that Ron and I had talked about pretty heavily, and so I finally had an opportunity to corner Shannon and go over this Friday over the phone, and
Do we have any line items in the budget?
well, I
Line
did,
expense?
it's funny you said that, because I put that down there, that the contract services, we have 46,500 for 2019 that we obviously haven't used any of yet. Our building and grounds, we have a $50,000 budget line for that. Obviously, 9,000 of it's committed for the,
Jefferson Common?
no.
Building
For the addition to the
Mini bar.
marina.
Yeah, got it.
And then we'll probably have some, a pricey amount of mulch that we'll have to purchase.
For the playground
For the
stuff.
new playground areas. Other than that, then I'm sure that, Shannon's price of that, probably the labor could be divided up over the contract services, and the expense of the pipe can be, maybe divided up over the building grounds, or we could put it in one or the other, so. I definitely think that the money, by the end of the year, the money could be there. We, past few years, we haven't really come close to hitting our budget on the contract service line, so, because we seem to do a lot of things ourselves in-house.
Any other questions? Just put that on new business A for the next board meeting.
When do you anticipate him doing this spring, or would it be all the way?
Well, I asked him, well, we began conversation probably 2 months ago, because I'd like for him to do a little bit more dredging at the Lincoln Park tie-up area. And I told him he had to pull the barge off. And I just told him I'd like for him to do it first thing as soon as he gets the barge one, before we get boats set in, because we can't do this while we got boats out there, so.
Right.
It'd have to be sometime, when weather's conducive, or very early spring. He's busy right now, getting his barge painted, the one that's gonna go on here on Heritage Lake.
Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome. So you say that's new business, eh?
Yeah. Okay. I just have one question with respect to the annual meeting. Deborah, are there any other committee reports that you're still missing that you need to follow up? Or do you have everything you need?
I think I need to get a census from, if anybody's got any, from liaisons. I know I've got 3 printed out right now, but I don't think I've got them all, I'm sure I don't. So there's, I've got siltation, I believe cleanup, and neighborhood watch has turned in theirs.
Muhlenbeck got his in. didn't he?
Campground just today.
You'll buy got in there,
Yeah, I think his is in.
Did Hillneck turn in anything?
No.
Mike has not. I did talk to Hoops, and he said that he would be working on that. I talked to him Thursday, Friday,
Mike is out,
for Lake.
Oh,
Can't
really?
remember his name. He's,
That's where Hell Net turned everything around.
Can you send me the list, Deborah, of the ones that you still need, and I'll follow up with
Yep.
the board members, the board liaisons to those committees, and make sure we follow up. If you guys haven't done that already, make sure you get that done. I don't have anything else. Anybody else?
have you guys had a chance to, look at the, agenda, yet, or look at the book? No, not the rule book, the, annual mailer?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, they-
it's put together very nicely.
Yes, it is.
You know,
I wanted to say that,
there's a couple of questions, but I don't think we.
between Deborah, Darcy, and, April, they've added, added collar, added picture, we decided on the back
It looks good.
to help eliminate maybe some phone calls, we put some important dates on the back. We tend to get inundated with when's the garage sales, when's the 4th of July.
We've eliminated the issue of having a definition for good standing. It's right in here. So, I mean, we can't go against it.
Watch us.
I mean, from the standpoint, we can't put anything out different.
Your thoughts are well understood in that regard.
But it's just been put together very nicely, I think, and if you haven't had a chance to look at it, compare it to the years past,
Yeah.
it's a little nicer.
Yeah, it's a little easier to get to and find the things that you're looking for, so nicely done.
There's a whale of information in there that people really need to hang on to those books and refer to when they have a question before they just pitch it in the trash and call the office.
All right, if there's nothing else.
I think we did put on the back, any questions, call Jeff Brooks, and you did put your phone number on
I can
Yeah,
care
that's
less.
right.
Bring it on. I'm ready.
there. That'll last about a day. Jenny will be going.
It'll be my phone, she'll never see it.
All right, if nobody has anything else, I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you for your time, guys.
Do we have anything after this?
I don't have anything, unless you guys have anything?
Right,
Talk about?
No, the road's right, I know that.
Yeah, drive safe.
Okay.
I might as well turn around, head right back to the office. Be up there by.
That's where I'm going.
Hey, Tom, are you night, are you Thursday?
Seriously, on that
6:30 in the morning.
consistency, good TV and all that,
Actually, I'm thinking
deliver
of
that
that
to Tanner, and he ought to have that stuff integrated properly.
Yeah, I'd like to see
Yeah.
that.
Did you
We
send
got
me
no-
electronic?
I will send
Can you send it to me, and then I'll
Reason
forward it
is
to
I
someone
have-
I've been to Greg, but I have to go to.
everyone, more than I printed it, what I just
Yeah.
added in. Yeah.
Or,
Thanks,
West
Jeff.
side, he already
Hey, guys.
and last summer, he been doing PRP on my desk.
I can't right now, but
I gotta wait. What is it? 10 seconds?
But more than healing and.
I'm working on it. You gotta wait 10 seconds though, otherwise it won't get me at the end.